Chris Garrett. I'm the CEO of the Saskatoon and Region Home Builders Association. And I'm very happy to welcome you to the Saskatoon Star Phoenix main stage. And here's where we have experts, live experts, presenting their expertise, and you have the opportunity to ask questions and have them answered. We're also really excited that this is part of Homestyle's Home and Renovation Show online virtual edition this year, and that means you get to take care of taking in Homestyles any day during the month of March for free. Because this is a pandemic and we've gone virtual, I do want to remind you that even though I'm not wearing a mask right now, everybody behind the camera is their social distancing, and we take this very seriously as well. Our guest speaker and I will be having appropriate distance between each other so we can have a conversation, and I encourage you to keep safe as well as you enjoy the new spring weather. I would now like to introduce our guest speaker today. Edwin has Thermal Effective Solutions as a company and has been working in Saskatoon for a number of years. He's going to be talking and taking questions about anything insulation, and we very much look forward to have an explanation about all these products. And so just a reminder that if you do have any questions as you're listening to Edwin, please feel free to put them in the comments section of the YouTube channel, and we can ask him questions during the second half of this session. So Edwin, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chris, for the introduction. I'm happy to be here this afternoon on this gorgeous spring afternoon in Saskatoon. So this afternoon, I'm going to be speaking about why insulation matters and why it is inspired by building science to construct better homes. Constructing homes using current typical methods result in increased heating and cooling costs. Building methods from the previous 40 years equate to inefficiencies for the homeowner. Exterior wall framing in the late 70s and early 80s increased to 2x6 construction, not because of structural, but because of wanting to increase our insulation values in our exterior walls to have more comfortable homes. Fast forward 40 years, today we continue to build with 2x6 exterior framing and marginally increased comfort, heating, cooling, increased in cost. So we need to change that up a little bit. So building science helps us understand how wall assemblies work or do not work. Thermal imaging technology on outboard building envelope insulation help us determine whether our exterior walls are doing the job they need to do and give us maximum efficiency. So what happens then is building science inspires us to build better homes and wall assemblies during the construction process. Thermal bridging continues to plague our homes. We all have Superman vision. What are you talking about, Edwin? I'm referring to during the late fall, winter, and early spring seasons, we all have seen the frost lines on our neighbors' homes on the exterior siding, showing exactly where the framing is. This is thermal bridging, hot and cold air meeting. Consumers are wanting a more efficient home at a reasonable cost. It is totally possible. How is it possible? The 936 Connect Quik-Therm exterior building envelope insulation makes this totally possible. This insulation was inspired by building science and a Canadian manufacturer, Quik-Therm. Quik-Therm is located in Winnipeg, Manitoba. So they do know what winters are all about, as well as summers, of course. 936, the numerals are derived from a section of the Energy Efficiency Code of Canada. 936 Connect insulation meets and exceeds building codes and is 30% higher in effective R value performance compared to a 2x6 minimum cold wall assembly. 936 Connect is available in 2, 3, 4, 5, and up to 6-inch thicknesses. 936 2-inch Connect with a 2x4 wall assembly does not cost more to build. Just think about that. 2x4 wall assembly with 2-inch 936 Connect insulation does not cost more to build. What makes that unique is you can go back to 2x4 construction, not compromise the structural, and save on costs while still having a more efficient home. The 936 Connect actually has built-in battens or strapping into the insulation panel. The sheets are a 4x8, so each sheet has 3 built-in battens that you attach your exterior siding to, whether it be a vinyl or a hardy or any other type of siding to finish off the home. Benefits to the consumer and the builder are as follows. No OSB exterior wall sheathing required. No exterior building wrap required. No interior poly required. And yet a 30% higher performance on that particular wall. Eliminates the thermal bridging that currently happens. Increased comfort and a more energy efficient home to control your heating and cooling costs. 936 Connect is a vapor, air, structural, and insulation all in one. 936 Connect can be used for exterior wall assemblies and interior ceilings in new construction. With rising costs in construction, heating and cooling rising, building envelope insulation matters. More than ever, actually. Other areas where insulation matters are the basement walls, under the slab, whether it be your basement slab or your garage, attached garage slab, as well as frost edge protection. Building science has inspired the next generation in new home construction. 936 Connect by Quik-Therm makes this affordable, and we will, I believe, see some of the builders are using it now, and I think we're going to see more builders come on stream because of the costs of materials that currently are being experienced in the industry. Excuse me. The other product I want to mention is the hot rock insulation panel for hydronic or in/in-floor heating. A lot of it is installed in homes now for basement slabs to make basements more comfortable. Homeowners are spending a lot more money than previous in regards to developing their basements. And when you insulate the basement properly, it doesn't feel like a dark, dingy grandpa's house anymore. It's as comfortable as the main floor, or can be, if you choose the right product. Quik-Therm also does produce a product for basement walls that does not use batt insulation, because batt insulations typically absorb moisture, and moisture in turn starts to create basically an oven for mold and for an uncomfortable basement, that musty smell. The other thing I want to mention is insulation is the least costly component of the total construction of a home. Most people don't realize that. Insulation is a pretty boring subject. You don't see it, you don't talk about it. And yet, it works and performs for you every month of the year, 24 hours a day. So we need to start talking about it in a little bit more of a conversation. When clients do arrive at my show home, they're surprised by the amount of information that they take away, and they understand then why it's a serious component to having a good insulation on a new build. And we don't want to leave out the renovation part of it as well. When a person is renovating an older home and taking off the old siding and upgrading their windows and doors, that's the time to increase the R value on the exterior of the home. Again, back to the 936 Connect Quik-Therm. So insulation does matter. Hi, I'm Edwin with Effective Thermal Solutions. I'm based here in Saskatoon. I am the master distributor here for Saskatchewan of the Quik-Therm insulation products that are manufactured and designed for Canadian homes and climate. And what makes this product unique, besides that it's an environmentally friendly insulation, is it has built-in battens or strapping right into the insulation sheet. We also provide a basement insulation system that is second to none. You can use either a wood stud or a steel stud to frame your basement. We also provide hydronic heating systems. The boiler boards are completely pre-assembled at a factory here in Canada. For more information, come and visit us here in Saskatoon at our showroom and Regina, or online at etsinsulation.com.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Edwin. Looks like you've been doing this for a long time.
I have 30 years of construction experience and now 8 years distributing.
Really? Okay.
So I do have a little bit of experience.
So you know this. Okay, so this is perfect then, because I will remind the audience that you can still send in your questions. We already have some great ones here that we can utilize. But I guess let's start out. Tell us why insulation matters.
Insulation matters typically because people want comfort in their home, whether it's to keep their homes cool in the summer season coming up, or whether they want to keep it warm and comfortable in the winter. And with costs going up, people are looking for ways of having a better constructed home.
Yeah.
And more comfortable home.
So essentially when people are talking about
high efficiency homes, insulation is a key part of that.
That's really the only way to get a high efficiency home is using insulation, outboard,
Yep.
below grade, as well as on your ceiling, which is really important as well. You have a lot of square footage on the ceiling. It's just as much as your floor space.
Right.
So a lot of times that gets neglected, or we'll just throw some whatever up there, some bad insulation, and you still have all that thermal bridging through your rafters.
Yep.
So insulation does play a big factor in a home.
Okay. So I have a question from Jerry. He says, I have an old wartime bungalow. The cubbies on the side upstairs allow the heat through to the roof. That creates ice dams. How do I solve that?
That's always a good one. What's happening is your heat is rising and it's going through your ceiling, back to that again. The insulation is poor in the ceiling. So what's happening is the snow is melting that is on the roof currently, and you're getting that ice down.
Yep.
So one fun way of correcting it is going into that, what they call that knee wall, which nobody likes to be in because you're on your hands and knees.
Right.
And you can put a layer of insulation that will insulate it and also needs to be a poly break at the same time. Or you can do a hot wire system before the next following winter, electric, and melt it
Oh,
off.
I see. Like directly on the roof?
Correct.
Interesting. Okay.
But don't go up there and try to chip it away or try to move it off, because that's an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, you bet. So how much work would you do in terms of the portion of new builds versus that renovation, right? Are a lot of people concerned about renovating their home?
Absolutely they are.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases, for example, whether it's City Park,
Yep.
as an example, or even the university area, a lot of those homes were built in the early 1900s with a 2x4 cavity, and they were filled with wood chips.
Right.
And now those wood chips have settled down to the bottom 2 feet.
Yes.
And you've got that great dead air space. And if you want to leave the integrity of the character of the
Yes.
home alone, outboard building envelope insulation from the exterior is the way to keep your costs in check
Right.
while you're doing likely new windows, doors, and siding.
At the same time.
So it's really simple to do.
Okay. I have a question here from Karen. She says, I want to make my basement into a legal suite for rent. What insulation and or fire smoke barrier do I need in the basement ceiling?
So in a basement ceiling, the best product to use is are products like a product called Safe and Sound, which is a heavy, dense batt insulation, and it also gives you that fire barrier protection,
Oh, really?
sound barrier.
Yeah.
So it does all those things at one time.
Okay. Another one here. Where are the Quik-Therm insulations manufactured? Is that here in Saskatchewan?
It is in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Okay.
And Quik-Therm is a very innovative insulation manufacturer, as well as they're constantly ahead of the curve
Okay.
in developing new products that keep costs in check, but yet do a really good job of
Yep.
insulating. And it's all a rigid EPS, and EPS stands for expanded polystyrene,
Okay.
which is the most environmentally friendly of all the styrofoams out there.
And why is that?
There's different processes of making different insulation,
Okay.
rigid insulations. Everyone's familiar with the blue and the pink and,
Yep.
and those kinds of things. Well, the dyes or the coloring in it doesn't help it perform.
Okay.
In fact, over time, it dissipates into the atmosphere. And with all the environmental things happening, Quik-Therm has chosen to use the EPS method because it is the safest
Okay.
and retains its R value too over its lifetime.
Yeah. So we get those questions a lot in terms of, what's the environmental footprint? Is that something that you're starting to hear of more often now from either builders or homeowners?
Both.
Both.
Both, always. It is definitely coming up in conversation more and more every week, every month, and every year. So people are definitely concerned, but they want their insulation to do what it's supposed to do for the life of the home.
So I'm assuming you work with builders and homeowners or designers, like
All
walk
the
me
above.
all the above. So walk me through that process. Like when a homeowner calls you, they I'm assuming, I mean, if I would call you, I don't really know what I need. I just need that know that insulation may be a factor.
Exactly. So they'll find my website or the manufacturer website online. And we have a conversation, whether it's through an email or on the telephone. And then from there, I typically invite them to my showroom, and their eyes then really open up.
Okay.
Because then we do talk in depth about what they're building, what they're hoping to achieve, and how they're going to achieve that.
So if somebody's renovating their home, do you have to go to their home to see what the issue is, really?
Typically not.
Okay.
A lot of times I will just ask them to bring in photos,
Right.
and we'll look at it. And if they're not wanting to, they can send me photos, and I'll analyze them.
Yep.
And if I have any questions, I'll get back in contact with them.
Right.
And then they do find that they do want to learn more, and they will come into the showroom.
Yep.
You know, typically I ask for an appointment so that we're not, you know, especially during COVID times.
Yes.
I've got lots of floor space, so we keep our distance, but we have a great conversation.
So, you know, when we talk about high performance buildings and homes and increasing the performance of an older home, that's often based on results, right? In terms of how much efficiency have you gained, or how much are you saving on your utility bills? How do you have that conversation with homeowners, and do you measure that when you do that?
It's a difficult thing to measure, and the reason for that is our costs keep going up.
Yep.
Carbon tax now is getting added onto all of
Right.
our bills.
Yep.
And so then it's difficult to say, well, where is the saving coming in, when on the back end,
Yep.
for delivery of the gas or the electricity, the carbon tax. Basically what you're trying to do these days is keep that in check,
Yes.
the increases that are coming in from the background.
I see.
We definitely need more programs to entice people to go that way, as far as increasing their insulation value and keeping the costs on the back end in check.
Yep.
Now, an example, and I see this all the time, is when an older home or rental, retrofit, putting in a high efficiency furnace when you
Yes.
haven't replaced the doors and windows or added any insulation, you haven't saved any money.
So really what you're saying is the first step should probably be insulation. Before you think about solar panels, before you think about a high efficiency furnace, insulation is that basic foundation to your renovation.
Absolutely correct.
Okay.
Absolutely correct. And it's one of the most affordable things.
I guess, right, if you compare it to the other items that you could be doing, the windows and the doors and so on.
I mean, we all like to have shiny countertops and nice hardwood flooring. Sometimes, a lot of my clients will make the decision, if their budget doesn't fit both,
Yep.
they will choose to do the exterior building envelope first. New doors, new windows, new siding, and insulation.
Yep.
And say, you know what, we're going to save some more money and jazz up the countertop in 2 years, 3 years,
That's
whatever
right.
that budget allows.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but insulation can also be bring an additional level of comfort into the home, right?
Huge, huge. I get clients all the time that say, now we don't have drafty switches or plugs,
Right.
or frost in the corners along the baseboards.
Yep.
You don't have to pull your feet up off the hardwood floor because it's uncomfortable. It is almost a night and day switch.
Okay. Do Quik-Therm installations meet existing and new building codes in Canada? And I mean, for the audience here, building codes are enhanced every 5 years. So the last one that we're working with right now is the 2015 building code. We're still waiting on the 2020 building code. So how you follow that, I'm assuming, and how quickly do you have to modify when a new building code comes in?
Actually, the Quik-Therm products are meet and exceed current, as well as the upcoming that we will eventually adopt here in the province.
Yeah.
So it already meets and exceeds it.
Exceeds it. And also for the audience, you know, the national building codes across the country are intended to go to net zero ready by 2030. And so assuming that insulation is a big part of that, how do you keep your business on the horizon for homeowners to be educated and so on?
Well, just having the product knowledge, and in my case, I guess it's the experience. Like everyone else that started out, I was doing what everybody else was doing.
Yep.
But I soon learned that in my book that wasn't acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
When I did do my builds, they were for myself.
Yes.
And I continued to do that through my whole career.
Yep.
And these days, I'm almost tempted to get back in it, but I don't think I have enough in the tank. So I prefer to educate.
Yes.
And pass on what I have.
Education is a huge, huge component, even for home ownership and renovation. How much of when you consult, how much of that is actually education with homeowners?
90%.
Yeah, I bet, huh?
It's high.
Yeah.
And they appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I don't know everything, and what I don't know, I try to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone has something that's as innovative or a better method,
Yep.
I'm definitely willing to learn and listen, and then pass it on to someone else,
Yeah.
if it makes sense.
Okay. So let's talk about budget, right? Because this is often what it comes down to. So, somebody has an older home. Let's go back to the neighborhoods that you mentioned, City Park, North Park. They want to spend on insulation, but they can't do the outside, right? Because that's still a big project. So where would you recommend would be the biggest bang for your buck?
That's a loaded question.
Is it?
And it's hard to answer.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, it's good. I got the thinking cap on today, so.
Because I heard potentially it could be your roof, right? Because your heat rises.
You want to start from the top, definitely.
Okay.
Because if you don't have a good top, the rest doesn't matter.
Okay.
So you definitely want to start at the top, and then go work the sides.
Work the sides.
Before you get down to the bottom end.
And what about your basement if it's not insulated? Are you truly losing a lot of heat there?
Yes, studies have shown anywhere from 20 to 25%.
Oh, really?
And proof in the pudding is walk around an uninsulated basement in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And it can be minus 20, 30, 40, which we definitely can have with a wind chill. And the snow around that basement is melted away. There's melting going on at minus 20, 30, and 40.
Oh, that's interesting.
The concrete is a heat sink.
Right.
It has 0.002 R value per inch, which is pretty much nothing.
Yep.
So if you don't insulate those walls, you're paying for another at least minimum 20% more on your costs.
That's right. And the reverse, I'm assuming in the summer, means that your house
comfortable
doesn't heat up as much.
Exactly. So it's a win. It's a win-win in all 4 seasons.
In all 4 seasons. So do you only work in Saskatchewan? Because I guess my question is, how does your work change if you're, because the weather in BC is definitely not the same as here, even though it's only 2 provinces away.
Actually, Quik-Therm is available in each province, right across Canada, and there are different zones in sometimes within a province.
Yeah.
But again, with Quik-Therm, after many, many years of R&D, research and development, all their products meet and exceed codes.
Yeah, and codes are such a big part of construction and renovation, right?
They are, absolutely. Yeah. And the reason for a code is you don't want someone applying a product incorrectly or using a product that isn't meant to be where it's meant to be used.
Yep.
And what I have found over the years, sometimes products are used where they shouldn't be used, and the homeowner gets himself into trouble, and then has to spend more money correcting the problem.
Yeah.
So you are better off to go to a professional. Not saying you can't do things yourself, but do the research. Talk to people that have experience, and ask lots of questions.
Yeah.
And there is no such thing as a dumb question.
I say that all the time.
No such thing.
And also, if you feel like it's being answered as though it was a dumb question, well, maybe that's not the right professional for you.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
So tell me, so you're the expert, you're the guy. So are you also the expert that coordinates, the work being done? How does that happen?
I don't do any part of the construction.
Okay.
I guide my clients through it, whether it's a homeowner,
Yep.
do-it-yourselfer, a renovator, especially if they haven't used my product before.
Yes.
I make myself involved in it, whether they like it or not.
Just to make sure it's done well, right?
Exactly.
And that can make a huge difference. So is this something a homeowner can do if you're
Yes.
relatively comfortable?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
It's simplified enough for a homeowner or renovator or a new home builder,
Yeah.
especially on the first time using it.
Mm-hmm.
Or the second time, there might be questions.
Yep.
I have been known to go on sites and put my work boots back on and
Good.
put a note on the door back
Yeah.
at,
Mm-hmm.
just to get my clients through the first phase,
Yeah, that's important.
initial.
Yep, absolutely.
I've done tutorials for staff
Yep.
in boardrooms before they go out into the field.
Oh, good.
Or if they have a question from the field, they can
Yep.
text me, take a photo, do a live video chat, whatever it takes.
Okay, good.
So communication is key.
Yeah. Well, that's all the time we have already. Thank you so much for your time,
You're
Edwin.
welcome. Thank you for the
I
opportunity.
I could talk insulation longer. I know it's not for everybody, but it truly is a huge component of any home or renovation, right?
Absolutely it is, and that's why insulation matters.
Yeah. So absolutely. So thank you to the audience, those listening at home. Thank you so much. I do also want to thank, particularly, we missed it last week, but I do want to say thank you to, all this furniture that we have here today is graciously offered on loan from North Prairie Development. So thank you to them. It's always a team effort here, so we appreciate it. And I hope everybody continues to stay home and stay safe. And we'll see you next Saturday as well. So check out our website to find out what the topics are every Saturday at 1 p.m. So thank you so much, Edwin.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Take care.
Yes, you too.